All right. Morning, everyone. This is our half-day hardware management track, so welcome, everybody. We have a number of presentations here. The first one, real quick, I'm Hemal. I'm Distinguished Engineer at Broadcom and Hardware Management Project Co-Lead. And
I'm Jeff Autor, the other co-lead with Hewlett-Packard Enterprise.
So in this first talk, what we are going to do is we'll give you an overview of all the work streams that's currently active in Hardware Management Project. And then later on, you will see more detailed presentation on number of work stream related and some other talks. So we'll start with this. That will give you some high-level overview of all the work streams we have. So let's get into it. This is what we'll cover. We'll go through the project overview. I'll cover a few work streams, and then I'll hand it to Jeff. So let's first look at this picture, which is very important to see how the hardware management project is structured, right? So within that, you see three different color codes. Overall, the project is divided into number of work streams and sub-projects. And what we cover here is, if you look in the middle, is where both out-of-band and in-band management interfaces are covered. Below that, there are hardware-level management. That's where you start seeing the Run BMC, which is the hardware management module. Then you have all the manageability profiles, which cover in-band and out-of-band management. And as you move up, you have rack management. The sub-project defines the API for that. And then you have orchestration level. That's where the device manager kind of implementation comes into picture. So those are all the hardware to top level. And then I'm going to talk about the other things we have going on is on the fault management side, the sub-project started. And within that, there is a substream, work stream, which is managing or working on fleet memory fault management related specification. And then we have GPU management workstream, which just recently started. Auxiliary or satellite management controller, that is another workstream. API for RAS is defined by also workstream. And then we have two other things, cloud service model, for which we have a presentation later, and then also server component resilience. So this gives you how the whole hardware management project is structured. So with that, what we'll do is in this talk, we will not focus on the sub-projects. Just real quick, Run BMC specification is pretty much stable. Right now, it's in maintenance mode in that sub-project. Open RMC and DM, device manager, and RMC rack manager controller, those two were merged and became one single project, which is actively defining both device manager and rack management API, and fault management specifically will focus on the fleet memory fault management work stream. Okay, so the first one is in the fault management sub-project. When this work stream started, the idea was there are all this error and fault information that is available on the platform. How can you standardize this across all the vendors? And then basically, for that, you have to define a set of APIs so that underlying implementation or vendors can provide their modules. And what it is currently working on is basically standardizing that whole memory error-related telemetry, which allows you to get information like what was the replacement policy, what kind of error that was seen. So that specification in this work stream is currently under development. Let me go to the next work stream. This is our work stream, which has been in existence for quite some time. And what it started with baseline profile. So it's all based on Redfish. What it basically prescribes here is a set of requirements for a specific domain. So like baseline profile specifies for any platform management what's the minimum set of requirement you need. And you can find these profiles at the repo. The link is here. And then from that baseline, there are profiles derived for even domain further, like rack or server, switch, and then GPU being also looked at it from the server standpoint. So those are all the platform-related profiles. And then we have also component-level profiles, which are also being published. So what these profiles do is it gives you, basically, you can take an implementation and look for the compliance to that profile. And compliance means is those features which are described in the profiles are existence in that given implementation. So this is how you can get a common set of management functionality. We also, this hardware management project defines a set of profiles that it owns, and also other projects, they work on their own profile in conjunction with us. And a number of those are derived from the baseline profile. So you can go and take a look at our workstream to see all the profiles that are in existence. Color coding here is showing what is already released and what's in the draft status. And then RAS API. This is from this workstream is focusing on in the platforms. You have all the information about reliability, availability, serviceability. How do you basically bubble it up, both from the software standpoint and hardware standpoint? So that's what it's focused on, RAS management. Also with the RAS, there's a logging capability you need to, so defining those kind of logging mechanisms so that you can have error logging, any kind of warnings, you can set up the sampling policies. And the idea here is by having all these APIs being standard, you can have open source implementation that people can leverage, which is generic across all the vendors. So those are first three work stream I talked about. Let me hand it to Jeff to go over the remaining three.
Great, thanks. So the cloud service module is one of the higher level pieces that is probably more upstack than I think anything else that we have in the hardware management project. So it's dealing with more of the deployment aspects and the at scale parts of actually managing a large fleet. So really almost above the hardware, but kind of at the container and VM virtual machine layers. But it's, I think most of what gets the attention is the deployment aspects of that, but also the ability to move workloads around and the decommissioning. All that whole life cycle is all part of their purview. I think it's the challenge is when you scale that stuff up. Obviously, the automation and the interoperability needs to be there if you're going to be successful at that. So. And I think they do have a talk later this morning. So I'm trying to remember, we've got so many talks all crammed in this session this morning. So next is what was previously called the satellite management controller. Now it's called the auxiliary management controller. It was an ask that we did a little while ago to rename that because the word satellite controller is something we've had used in hardware management for decades. When there was no potential confusion with an actual satellite, but now people start asking, wait a minute, are you guys managing satellites? Okay, that's actually not a dumb question now. So we're going to say we are not managing satellites, so this will now be called the auxiliary management controller. But so what's unique about those items is that between the modular componentry and the modular systems that are being developed within OCP, you have this, and I don't want to call it plug and play, but there's a need for separately designed and separately managed pieces of firmware to be able to talk to each other and figure out who's in charge and who is providing the access to the outside world for the out-of-band communication and who is acting as a data provider. So it's defining those interconnects both at the physical levels but also at the logic level of the protocols and the data pieces underneath that. So that's all of the stuff. And all the terminology here is still based on satellites. We're going to have to scrub some of that off because we are not managing satellites. So. And then I think the newest.
This is the newest.
The newest work stream, yeah, is GPU management. And so this is there was a group that has been working on their own for defining the the interfaces between the GPU and the BMC or the rest of the management infrastructure. And so they have just completed their initial work and have delivered contributions to OCP. So it's now going to be our job to take that and disseminate that more widely and see how it how it will interact and how we can make sure that everything is cohesive in terms of the management infrastructure. So, and obviously GPU management means management of those GPUs and really the entire GPU-based modules that are now becoming pretty common in those designs, especially at the rack scale pieces that you heard about in the keynotes yesterday. And you can see there's actually 3 contributed specifications. I think there was they did contribute the profile, the management, the accelerator interface, and there was a third.
Firmware update.
Oh, firmware, yes, firmware update for the GPUs and the associated infrastructure. So, and those are not from scratch, by the way. They're leveraging an awful lot of the same pieces that we have. So it's not a new and different thing. It's something that we're going to make part of the larger OCP management family.
So, yeah, I think this gives you, Workstreams gives us very agile model of like working on specific areas. And we had like 1 or 2 work streams 3 years ago. Now we are at 6. We have 3 sub-projects, so we have grown there. But the work this way is getting done in parallel. People bring in the proposal. So our call to action here to you guys is, if you guys are interested in their workstream leads here, sub-project leads, we are project lead, give us input, feedback, contribute. There are regular calls going on in the workstream. You can join them, you can contribute to it, review the specs, provide your feedback. There are a number of links here that you can refer to. And any other question? Go ahead, Jeff.
And yes, please get involved. And one of the it used to be unique, but I think the sustainability guys will fall into the same categories. That systems management, manageability in general, crosses all of the other OCP disciplines and projects. And so our job is to try to bring the expertise for managing all this gear, and then go out into the other projects and make sure that they are utilizing that and not starting over from scratch yet again. Right. As we know, that's what the problems of the past have been. So so I encourage everyone to please, if you're subject matter experts out in some of the other areas, please come and at least help us and pay attention, or find a niche part of the management infrastructure that you can help and evangelize back and forth with the other projects, because it's the integration of this gear is where the benefits of OCP come in. And yeah, lots of links and plenty of areas. So.
Yep. I think we have time for questions. Any questions?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh.
It's first thing in the morning, so. All right. Well, we've got a packed schedule, so we'll start our transition into the next session.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.